Hey, Grandpa, what's the Bill of Rights?
The Bill of Rights is a document within the Constitution that grants us certain inalienable rights.
Can I say I don't like the government?
Of course you can. That's part of your First Amendment, the freedom of speech.
What if I want to print that I don't like the government?
You can. That's also part of your First Amendment, the freedom of press.
Now, if I'm Christian, can they get me for that?
Of course they can. In this country, we have religious freedom. That means you can believe or follow whatever religion you want without fear of persecution.
All right, now say I go downtown to City Hall with all my buddies, and we sit out there and we complain all day.
You can do that as long as it's hurting nobody. You can, if you're trying to redress a certain grievance, you're allowed to petition the government.
All right. Now, church and the state, same thing, right?
Of course not. The church and state are two completely separable, uninterchangeable things.
Gotcha. And am I allowed to have this?
What's that? Oh, of course you are. That is your Second Amendment.
Right. Am I allowed to have this one?
Of course you are. If you want to defend yourself,
And what? Can I bear these arms?
you can bear those arms because that is your Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, where you're allowed to have weapons in order to defend yourself and our mother country.
Now, what if some soldiers come into my house?
That is quartering of soldiers, and we are not allowed to do that as a government, because that is impeding your right and the Third Amendment.
Okay. Oh, I gotcha. And the search and the I can't remember what it's called.
You talking about
You do
unlawful search and seizure?
Yeah, that
That means a person of the executive branch or enforcement cannot take what is yours
right.
without a warrant or probable cause.
Yeah. Hey.
I reckon that's a warrant.
Those darn warrants.
You're allowed to do it.
Oh.
Anything else you want to know about?
Now, what if I buy a house, and then the government decides it wants to build a railroad?
Well, the government is allowed to take your property if it gives you a 6-month notice, and if it pays you the fair share for your property, and it must be for the better good of the public.
Now, if I get arrested and I just kind of kick back, I don't say anything, can I do that?
Yeah, you can plead the Fifth, where you're not allowed to incarcerate yourself or incriminate yourself.
Right. If I get arrested, what happens after I get arrested?
You have to go follow the due process of law, where you are sentenced to a courtroom and you are innocent until proven guilty.
Who makes that decision?
Of course, your peers do, because it is a fair, speedy, and public trial by a jury of your peers.
Right. Now, if I want some advice on this, what do I do then?
You have the right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one will be provided for you.
I gotcha. Yeah. Now, if I get arrested, and I go to court, and I talk to my attorney, and I'm innocent, and I get out of there, can they bring me back in?
Of course not. That is a double jeopardy. You cannot be chosen for.
Right. Now, say I'm accused of a crime, right? And I don't know who accused me. Can I see them before I go to jail?
Of course, that you can confront your accusers.
Right. And then if I go to jail for that crime, are they allowed to fireboard me?
Of course not. That is cruel and slightly unusual, and that type of punishment is not allowed.
Now, I think I have more rights than this. I'm sure I have more rights than this.
Well, yeah, not all the rights that you retain are listed in this document.
Okay.
And the thing is, some powers are still reserved to the state, and the powers that are not reserved in the state, that are detailed in this government under this document, are entitled to the people.
Yeah.
Which mean us.
Yeah. Now, what if? There's a hypothetical here. They find my footprint at a place that I go every day. But crime.
Oh, you must be talking about
here.
you must be talking about the grand jury indictment. Well, that says that the grand jury can't trial you unless they have sufficient evidence.
That makes sense.
And
you know
these my grandson are your rights that will never be able to taken away from you, as long as we live in this great state of Mississippi.
GG. Real GG. Thank you, DB.
And let's remember that this is only 70% content. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. 70% content!
70.
Percent content.
No less.
Unless.
70%.